Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's doing great. The Rains Academy. So, today I want us to talk about some really, really important keys in this business. Here we will discuss a lot. I want you guys to pay keen attention to this short tutorial. Not really a short one, but I think it's going to be quite a long video. But the good thing, I will break down everything that needs to be done in this session. So here I want us to discuss about supplier communication, negotiations, numbers, and calculations. Okay. So, like in the previous video, I taught you how to contact suppliers and send messages to them. And so far, you guys have the supplier contact templates. You have all the different templates with regards to the different scenarios when you're talking to them, right? For example, if you're sending a fast initial message, if you want to negotiate with them, if you want to order for samples, if you want to track your inventory and samples, you have all those templates where you can literally just copy paste. Okay. So yeah, so in this video, actually, I want us to assume that we have done the supplier communication. Okay, we have talked to them, we have negotiated with them, and now we've talked to quite a number of suppliers, and now we're still talking to them, and we're trying to negotiate here and there, and yeah. So in this tutorial, I wanted to talk about supplier communication, negotiations, numbers, and calculation. So here you'll just see a brief of calculations and on how I'm going to uh, narrow down to profit numbers. And there are two lessons actually. We have this lesson, and the next video is going to be about now finding uh, the true profit numbers, so we can be able to select one supplier who's making sense. And by making sense, I mean that a supplier who has a larger profit margin, and a supplier who literally actually is posing to be the key things that you need to look at when you're selecting a supplier to work with. Okay, you're going to learn all this in these two videos. And this is very important because remember, you are building a long-term business. So this is a business that you're going to be doing for a long time, even for the rest of your life, right? So you need to have key things that you need to get in the beginning. And this is what I've been stressing since we started out this academy. Okay, so now once you get these key things in the beginning, I mean, these suppliers are going to be working with them, and you have to develop a relationship with them. It has to be fruitful. Okay, so today we want to learn quite a number of things, and by the end of this lesson, you should be able to learn and grasp these things here. So why calculating the true cost of a product is critical, you'll learn that today. And what goes into the true cost of a product. And the good thing, I've been talking about these things since the beginning. Okay, and I'm glad because I've been taking you guys step by step, and now we want to break it down in bits. This is it now. This is the time I've been telling you about the shipping, the cost of goods, and all that. So here I'll break it down in bits, and I will literally include every single point that needs to be included. Okay, so and then of course you're going to be working with the Rains workbook spreadsheet. Okay, then you're going to see how to determine the final three suppliers for each of your products, and then how to get the an estimate of shipping and freight cost, and then you're going to take action. Okay, so after this lesson, of course, you will receive the notes, the PDF notes, and all that. Okay, and it's really crucial that you follow along, take actions like you've been taking, and just really excel. So like I've told you, we're going to be covering we're going to talk about what is the true product cost, and then why calculating the true cost of a product is critical, and then how to determine your final three suppliers for each product, and then how to get an accurate estimate of shipping and freight cost. And this is going to be awesome and fun because you're going to see the details very well here in this lesson. Okay, now, what is the true product cost? The true product cost is the total cost of your product, including everything you have spent on it by the time it arrives at Amazon and is finally ready to be sold by a customer. Okay, so this includes the total product cost, it includes, of course, the packaging, the logo, the color, and the inserts, and all the designs that you'll be discussing with the suppliers. And your supplier will literally give you a number. Okay, if it's $2, together with all this, it might come to $3 or $4 or $5. It depends. Okay, so that is the total product cost. Then, of course, we'll have to look at the cost of importing the product. And in our case, of course, we'll be importing. Then cost of any inspection service. If and of course in this case we're going to be using an inspection service. And then cost of shipping the product to Amazon, and this is usually via UPS. Then the FBA label service, which is normally 2 cents. And of course, you're going to use Amazon for this, and I'll show you how to do that. And for your first shipments, I always recommend you use the Amazon FBA label service. There's a link where you can click the link on the RAINS workbook and read the service, the terms and conditions. And then there is also, you can see the whole process in that link. So let's continue. So now I want us to get into some action bit of this lesson, okay? And we're going to use these three documentation here. First of all, we'll use the first two ones, the RAINS workbook, and then the revenue calculator, the FBA revenue calculator, because I want us to get the true cost of the product that we have so far on the RAINS workbook, okay? So let's open the RAINS workbook and then have a look at it. So guys, this lesson is going to be very awesome because now I'm going to break it down for you. I'm going to get all the values step by step, get all the values until you see literally how everything is just gotten, okay? So let's assume we've talked to the suppliers, you've done all the product research process like I've taught you in the other lessons. You've now narrowed down to your final three, and then you've literally, like I told you, take all these three products and then place them in their respective tabs, okay? So we have product one. You can even name it Baby Sling Carrier instead of just writing product one. Baby Sling Carrier, and the next one you name it there, and then the next one you name it there, product three. So now I want us to literally focus on the first product, which is the Baby Sling Carrier. Assuming we have talked to the suppliers and they've given us their values, they've given us their, their how much they sell it on their website. And for the demonstration purposes, for this supplier, I have found out that they sell it for only $3, which is a really good price. Okay, so now I really want you guys to pay attention in this because I want you guys to understand the whole process here. Okay, so now we'll open this workbook and then I want us to get the true cost of this product. Okay, so let us open this revenue calculator. Then we see how these things are done. So remember guys, this workbook is literally for you to be entering all your information. Okay, so what I'm going to show you in this lesson, you're going to do the same for that specific product for the different suppliers. Okay, we have supplier number one, supplier number two, supplier number three. Remember, the goal here is to find the right supplier who has the best figures, the best value, and you're going to understand how to select them just now. Okay, so this is hot. It is opened. Very good. So I want us to open Amazon, and then we take because I want us to use the RAINS the FBA revenue calculator. So let's open Amazon and then I show you how to use it. Okay, good. So remember, when you're using the FBA revenue calculator, there's certain key things that you need to be entering on the on the revenue calculator. Okay, so let me go back to the slides 1 second. So before we even continue, I want you to understand why knowing the true cost is critical. So until we know the true cost of each product, we cannot determine our potential profit. Okay, so don't wait and then do all this. You just don't want to do all this only to find out that you can't make any money. And I'm going to show you how this is very important. So you need to do this before ordering samples. Otherwise, you will be wasting so much time and money. And then of course, this process that I'm going to show you will literally help you to compare your three opportunities and determine your supplier. Okay, so where are we? We were at the we were at the RAINS workbook. So I want you guys to pay attention here. Look at this. We have this Excel here, and I've literally organized it in I think in the best way possible, and I'm just going to show you how to use it right now. So when you are using this FBA revenue calculator, there are things that you need to enter, and I'm going to show you how and what to be using. Okay. So first of all, like right now, I think you know how to use it, but let me just refresh your mind. So what you enter here is the UPC, EAN, ISBN, or ASIN number. And I want us to be using the ASIN number. It's easier, okay? So you just go to the product that you want to sell. Remember, the price is 26.96. You scroll down, and then you take the ASIN number, which is normally at the product information, technical details, okay? You take the ASIN number, you copy, come back here, and then place it here. So it will retrieve the product information, and then because you want to sell this product, so we want to know the values and the figures that we're going to be deducted and all that. So you'll be doing the same thing even with the other products. Okay, so what do you enter here? The price of the price of the product from the supplier. So this is called the cost of cost of product. So I want you guys to get some things clearly even before we get here. This workbook here, it's really divided into so many columns and rows. Okay, so for this column here, you'll see it says cost of product, shipped to Amazon, net profit, net margin, and some, it has functions and calculations and all that automatically embedded in the Excel document. So what I want you guys to understand is uh, you need to obtain some values from the supplier, and then some values you're going to estimate, because I'm going to show you how to get them for you to get the good figures here. Okay, so number one, the price of the product. This is what you get from the supplier, and this is actually the total price we'll be paying the supplier. Okay, like I've told you, it's inclusive of any packaging and inserts and logos and everything. Okay, so everything the supplier is going to give you, and remember, we are dealing in per unit level. Okay, so always remember, everything that you calculate, you're going to be dealing with it in per unit level. And then this is why I created and designed the Rains revenue calculator, for you to be able to see. Now, if I have worked out everything per unit, what about if I use 500 units? Okay, so it will automatically be calculated there. So in this, for now, let us use this per unit. Okay, so always have the price, which is what the suppliers are going to give you, and it's going to be per unit. You're going to place the price here. So for example, here, these suppliers were selling this item, the baby sling wrap carrier, for $3, and this is what I'm going to use here. So let's just verify that. You see, they're saying 2 to 3, and of course, after talking to them and communicating with them and telling them the best price, they told me 3. So that's what we're going to use here. So that's 3 is what you put here. Okay, so the next tab, we have import shipping cost. So this is there's a link here that will direct you to a tool called Freightos, and I'm going to get to that just in a bit. So we'll do all the calculations, and then after getting this value here, 2.12, I'm going to show you how to get it. So you will put that value here, 2.12. That is the Freightos value, that the value the Freightos will give you. That is what you will put here. Okay, so the next one, which is inspection, which is here, inspection service. So for the inspection service, I'm estimating it to be a 0.20, like 20 cents. This is because I'm dealing with per unit level. Okay, per unit, and normally the average cost the inspection guys will charge you per unit is normally 2. If it's too expensive, it can go up to 0.3 or 0.5. But for the products that are below a pound or 3 pounds, the inspection is normally very minimal. So I'm estimating it to be at around 0.2. Okay, and that's there. It's already there for you guys. Okay, so the now the shipping to Amazon. So we have the UPS ship to Amazon. Okay, so I estimate this to be 0.5. Why? Because sending products from inspection service to the freight forwarders to Amazon, when importing your products, normally they charge 0.5 with dependence of the same thing I've told you, the weight. If it's below 3 pounds, the inspection fee is normally very minimal, so I'm averaging it to be 0.5. Okay, so when importing products, and you have to set it to, you have to set it to your freight forwarders first. So the next step is to send it to Amazon. Okay, this is going to cost you a little extra to pay for these services, and personally I still do this up to date. So this way you're making sure that there will be no issues. So don't worry about all these values I'm talking about: the inspection, the UPS to Amazon, okay, and even the FBA label service. These extra costs they're very minimal, okay. But of course, if you add them to, to the number of units you're buying, you'll see a bigger value. Not even very big, just still something that you can afford. This is very crucial. You do all this because you're going to make sure that everything is gonna be okay. You won't have issues, damages, and all that. Okay, so now you don't know how much this is going to cost, especially the UPS to Amazon and the FBA. I'm estimating this because of the weight. Okay, and especially the FBA label. This is another service fee that you're going to pay the what are they called, the FBA guys to do the labels for you. It's normally 0.2, and you can even see the link like I told you. You click on this link, and then you will read the instructions and everything, and understand and see how much they charge and all that. Okay, so what normally happens is you will be issued the FNSKU labels that I'll show you how to do that once we have the Seller Central account ready. So those labels are what you're going to place on your carton box, but not you. The suppliers will do that, or the FBA label guys will do that. So I recommend you have the FBA guys do that for you. And that way, because it's their work, they know how to do that and they'll do it correctly. Okay. So it's just a $0.20. It's 20 cents, and which is really minimal. So that way they'll have, Amazon will require you to have the FNSKU labels placed over your UPC codes. And of course, I'm going to show you how to get the UPC codes at a later module. And these things are placed on your boxes. It's very, very important you have these things on your boxes. And then that if you have Amazon do all this for you, definitely you will have no issues at all. Okay, you'll have no issues at all. So each cost, as you can see, has been broken down in these cells here, and then I have the columns for the cost of product shipped to Amazon, and I have all these costs broken down here. The reason I've done this is because I want to break down every single cost that I'll incur, and then I'll take these values and then I'll use them on the revenue calculator, on the FBA revenue calculator. Okay, it's very important. And of course, again, after doing all the values, and then finally I will take the true cost of product, which is this, and then this is what I'm going to use with my the RAINS revenue calculator to now get the values. So I'm glad that now you know how to use the revenue calculator, to use the RAINS calculator. Now let's boil it down into details and then see how we can use them in our everyday business. Okay, so now I know you know how to use the revenue calculator, but let me just open it and then show you how to use how to put all these values after we've gotten them into the revenue calculator. Okay, so let me just open, here it is, and then see how you're going to use it. Okay, so now for example, let's come back here. I told you that this product is going for around 26.96. So definitely this is what you're going to put it here, 26.96. And remember, we are dealing with the Amazon fulfillment. We're not dealing with your fulfillment. The reason, like I told you last time, it's because if you use this, there is no need of you leaving Kenya all the way to to the Amazon to just ship products from Arizona, within the town Amazon to the customers. Okay, so we have to let Amazon do everything for us. So that's what you're going to put here, the item price. And then ship to Amazon. Let's go back to our RAINS workbook. What did we get? Here it is, ship to Amazon. So what you're going to do is just simply you're going to highlight this. Once you highlight this, you will see a sum here. It automatically calculates the sum for you, which is 0.70. And then we'll take that 0.70 and place it here, 0.70. Okay. Now, once you've done that, and the next thing now we go back to the RAINS workbook, sorry, the calculator, and then look at what we need to put now. We need to put something called cost of product. So this is the cost of acquiring the product from your supplier, or cost required to manufacture the products, as single unit. So now, what is our cost of product, guys? Okay, what is the cost of product? We go back to the RAINS workbook and then look at the cost of product. Now, what does it tell you? If you can look at it. So the cost of product, guys, is basically, like I've told you, I've highlighted three cells here. The price of the good, then the import cost, and then the inspection. So basically, this is all the cost of product. Once you get all these three, you of course you again come down here. You'll see a sum which says 5.32. So you place it here, 5.32. Okay, once you have that, so now at least we have something called the cost of product. We've literally, like I told you, I've input the inspection, I've put the what's it called, import cost and all that to a value of 5.32 per unit. Once you have that, you hit calculate. Now this calculator is going to give you the net profit together with the net margin. Okay, so we have a net profit of 12.10, and then we have a percentage of 44.88. So we take this 12.10, this is the net. Okay, so far we have obtained the net per unit of what we are going to sell on Amazon. Okay, so I remember my criteria was like your net profit should be above 30%. So this is a very, very good net profit margin, very healthy. Okay, so we take this 12.10, and then where do we place it? We place it here, 12.10. Okay, so we can even validate and see that it's 44.88%. It's the same as this, 44.88%. This Excel has formulas, so as in, even if you write a value here, probably you write 20, it will literally give you the percentage. Okay, if you write 10, if 10 is what the calculator has given you, the net profit of 10, and then you take that 10 and put it here. Let me close this. Then you put it here, where here at the net profit, let's say it's 5. It will tell you that your net profit is 18, which is very low. Okay, so as we got 12.10, right? 12.10. So you take that here and then you place it here, 12.10. It comes to 44.88, and you can even validate that by looking at the revenue calculator for Amazon. It says 44.88. So you have to take the net profit and put it into the Excel document. Always don't forget that. Okay, so once you've done that, now at least you'll be ready to get all the other fees. So remember, why are we doing this? This is because we only have the cost of product from the suppliers. Then of course we have the value for to ship the products to Amazon. Okay, these are very important values that we need to get. But now Amazon, this document of mine does not show you the selling on Amazon fees and then the FBA fees. So this is why we're doing all this. We need to get these values here, 4.04 and then 4.80, because this is what now we know that we know that now we're able to get the selling on Amazon fees and then the FBA fees. So here they are. Okay, so once we get those fees, it's very important, because now we are able to know what Amazon will charge us to pack our products, pick and pack, and then also deliver to the customers who buy them. For example, FBA, fulfillment by Amazon. This is what Amazon is going to charge you per unit for them to pick, pack, and then deliver to the customers who buy them. This 4.04, it's what Amazon charges you for selling on their platform and also for storing. Okay, so basically you're going to be able to be doing this process even for the other products. Okay, so like I told you, it's really quite important to get to know these values, and you once you get these values, you're able to understand what's really going on, what's really going on, and what's really getting deducted. Okay, so be always getting the quote from your suppliers. This like right now I'm dealing with only this supplier for the for the purposes of demonstration, and now you'll be doing with this supplier, you'll be dealing with this other supplier, and even if you have number 4, number 5, and so on. Okay, so it's a fun exercise. It's really fun, and it's really interesting to be able to be doing this. Okay, so now I want us now to go back to the slide briefly. So I've told you why it's critical. So critical step, um, narrowing down to potential suppliers. So before we calculate the true cost of product, we need to narrow down our suppliers. And once, of course, we've gotten all the values, once you've had back from suppliers, your potential suppliers, you will need to narrow them down to your top three for each of the product based on responsiveness, willingness to be flexible, price, and then the MOQ. Of course, the lower the better. Okay, and then the product and packaging options. So these are the things that you will need to be considering with regards to the suppliers who are replying to you. Okay, so if a supplier is replying and is very quick to respond, I mean that's a good potential someone you can work with, and he's quickly is very prompt and very fast and all that. If they're willing to be flexible, of course they're willing to negotiate. That's someone you can really easily work with. Okay. If the price, of course, if the price is okay, if the price is good, that is someone you can also work with. And of course the MOQ, the minimum order quantity, and definitely the lower the better. If like right now I'm demonstrating with 500, if you find suppliers who are able to go below up to even 100, I mean, the better. It's your first inventory, and you need to save a lot and to see the whole cycle, and then you can be doing it in future. Okay, and of course, suppliers who can do product and packaging options. This is very important. You need to consider all those things. So now, getting the final costs. Just 1 second. So getting the final cost. So once you have narrowed down your potential suppliers according to the way you've been communicating with them, and getting all the responses, the replies, and then looking at the 5 points I've given you. So you need to actually make sure you have all these things before we now start to get so we start to narrow down to the final numbers. Okay, just 1 second. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so the product cost. This is what the suppliers are going to give you, like I've told you, and this is very important when you get all these values, because you're going to be. I'm going to show you how to use them right now. So the product cost is very, very important, and then number two, the FBA label fee. This is we know this. I've even shown you where to look at it and how to get it at that link on the RAINS workbook, which is 0.2 cents. Now we know that. So the inspection service, definitely we can estimate that, and I've told you products within the range of £3 and below. The estimation is normally 0.2, so we can estimate that, and we know that. So now we need to get the two types of shipping costs. Okay, number one, and of course I'm going to show you how to get these two steps later, the next lesson. But now we need to have the shipping and importing your product from the supplier, the cost. That's something we need. Okay, then the final shipment to Amazon via UPS, and I've told you we can estimate that to 0.5, depending on the uh, weight of product. If it's below £3, definitely the estimation is always 0.5, and this is why there is my criteria that you have to follow, so that the weight has to be below £3. So whenever you're using the Jungle Scout or using my criteria, always select the rate to be 0.5. Okay, so one thing to note, guys, when estimating the shipping cost, if your supplier is domestic, that means it's he's in China, or you want to sell within China, or if you're buying in America and you want to sell within America, then they should be able to give you a very accurate estimate. It happens a lot. But if the products need to ship overseas, like what we are doing, then the best way to get an estimate is to simply use a tool called Freighters. And this is what I told you. I'm going to show you how to use this tool. It is a very powerful tool, and it's basically the best tool out there that has that shows people how to do all kinds of calculations, estimations, and to get the values of shipping, the cost of shipping. And it's basically a tool I've been using for 3 years now. Okay, it's very powerful, and it's really awesome. So first things first, there is a link to this tool, and it is in the RAINS workbook. Okay, so this link, I mean, this tool, you must use it. Please, you must use it. Okay, so that link, to get to that link, it's just here. So you come to the cost of product, and then you'll see import services. Okay, so this is the link. You'll click on that link and then you'll get to that tool. So first things first, create an account. Okay, it's a free tool to use. You'll just create an account with them, and then you'll be able to be using it. Just your normal email, don't worry about anything else. So it's a great tool for giving estimates on shipping costs and all that. And actually you can get real quotes from it that can help you, use the quotes later once you're ready to ship your products and all that. So now, let me go back to the slides 1 second. There you go. So just note this, guys. This is something you should note. In order to get the shipping estimate, you will need shipping dimensions, cubic meters and kilograms and all that. And all this information you'll be getting from the suppliers. And if of the entire shipment, of course, the suppliers will give you the information for your entire inventory for your shipment. So okay, and of course each carton, they'll give you all the dimensions, the weight, and all that. So in this case, the suppliers will provide you everything. And of course, if you are using my the templates I've given you to on how to contact suppliers, if you've realized it contains all the information that you need to ask the suppliers and all that. Okay. So one other thing that you need to note, guys, is that the custom duty fee that I've always been talking about is usually not inclusive of the shipping cost, and it's very normally minimal. Okay, so normally for a lower inventory below 5,000, below 10,000, it's normally 5% of your of 5% of the product cost, and this has nothing to do with the shipping cost and all that. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to I'm going to show you how to use this just right now, so don't worry about this. Okay, so let's go back to the Freightos tool and let me show you how to use this thing. This thing is really awesome, guys, and I really I love using it. And once you create an account with them and then you log in, remember it's free to use. Once you create an account with them and then you log in, this is how it looks like on the inside. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to use all this. So what you're going to notice first of all is like you'll see here it says pellets, boxes, and crates. Okay, and then containers. Okay, so I want you guys to use the pellets, boxes, and crates. Unless you have so much money, like over $1 million, to invest in your inventory and all that, then you can be using the containers. Because now you're going to be talking about 20 feet, 40 feet, and all that. Like some of my clients use containers, okay, and they ship up to 40 feet full of their products. I remember I mentioned one of my clients who's selling charcoal briquettes. His shipments are normally huge and crazy. Okay, now he's made so much money, so he can be doing that. So once we get to this level, we'll be using containers. But now I want us to focus on the pellets, crates, and boxes, because this is what you're going to be dealing with for your first inventory and all that. So number 2, you will see it says click to ship to Amazon FBA. Okay, now this is very tempting, but for your first shipment and all that, I don't want you to select this at all, because this will literally take you to a different calculator that will literally give you an estimate from suppliers. Okay, so it will show you how you'll be able to ship everything just straight from suppliers to Amazon FBA. And remember, I always recommend that you do not do that for your first shipments. Okay, because number one, you don't know how your suppliers are going to handle your products, because there is no inspection. There is not even a service inspection. Okay. And then number 2, we do not know which Amazon FBA warehouses your products are going to go into. I mean, they're going to go to. So you're not going to even be able to create the shipment labels and all that. Okay. So until your products are ready, and then the shipping labels are ready and all that, so you'll be able to get the shipping labels from Seller Central, and then send them to the suppliers to place the labels on the products, or let Amazon do that for you. Number 3, for your first shipment, definitely they're going to go into different Amazon warehouses. For example, one is going to go to the West Coast, another one is going to go to the to East Coast. So you literally don't know anything if you do click to Amazon FBA. Okay, then number 4, definitely number 3, you want people to I think that's point number 4. You want people to be able to inspect your products. Okay, you want guys to be able to so this is why we are going to be working with the freight forwarders. Guys are gonna be able to inspect your shipment, and just to make sure everything is okay, that nothing happened, nothing went wrong with them, nothing, just everything is okay. All right, so let's dive into how to use this tool actually. So number one here, we have number one here, which says, what are you shipping? Okay, calculate by boxes or by total shipment. So normally, if you have a supplier who has literally given you every single thing, then you'll just have to use this. Okay, so normally suppliers normally they provide you with all the information you need. So if you for the purposes of demonstration, I'm going to use calculate by boxes, because this is what's really interesting, and this is how the supplier, I mean, this is you're going to input everything here. So let's assume that we are buying 500 units. Okay, and out of those 500 units, we are going to have them put into 10 boxes. So what are you shipping? Boxes stroke crates, pellets. How many? Let's say 10. Okay, 10. Yeah, very good, 10. So out of these 10 boxes or cartons or pellets, or crates, I have 50, what are they called? 50 units in each of those boxes. Okay, now you get it. So a total of 500 units. So the suppliers are going to give you all this, so don't worry. So 10 boxes. Okay, so you're going to write here 10 boxes, and then each box, dimension of one box, this is what your supplier is going to give you. So it could be 50 centimeters, 30 centimeters, and let's say 40 centimeters. So the reason you're seeing there's a drop down menu is because I've done this before, and I've been using the tool several times. So I'm just giving a live example. And normally, what happens is, if you're dealing with people from overseas like China, they normally like to use centimeters, not inches, centimeters. Okay, so you'll get this a lot. So yeah, this is okay. So you have to put all this correctly, the exact values the suppliers give you. And then let's assume the weight of one box is 20 kgs. Okay, 20 kgs. So you can now see that that they're telling you here that 10 units, 0.6 cubic meters, and then and it's supposed to be 20 kilograms. So Freightos is already calculating the values for you. So let's just move step by step. The second section, the next step here is now, where are the goods being picked up from? So origin of location type, you have to fill out this here. So for example, this is where the Freightos guys are going to pick up the either the Freightos guys or the freight forwarders, where they're going to pick up the goods. So here, of course, it's the factory or the warehouse in China where the goods are being manufactured. Okay, so that's why this is, you select this, always be selecting the factory, warehouse, and then we have China here. You select China, and then the country of origin. So definitely, like I've told you, if you have been communicating with the suppliers, you have all the values, you have all the details, you have all the information. Definitely, you'll be able to get the information. And most of my suppliers come from a town called Ningbo. It's a funny town, Ningbo, Zhejiang, China. So you'll have to definitely. I mean, sometimes once you start typing, you'll see some drop down. It's powered by Google, so they have a location, so you'll be able to just select where they are. You see, like here we have Ningbo, Zhejiang. So that's where the suppliers are manufacturing my products. Okay. Now, the suppliers, of course, will be able to give you the estimated date of completion of manufacturing your goods. Okay, so normally it's sometimes, if they do it very fast, it will take 10 to 20 days. Okay, 10 to 15 to 20 days. Okay, so I will just take two. Let me just use two. Let me use how many days? Let me use 14 days. Okay, for the manufacturing of the goods. So you have to estimate the date for the goods to be, when they're all going to be ready for pickup after manufacturing. Okay, so the suppliers will give you this date. They'll tell you, okay, your goods, the massive production will end after 10 days, after 15 days. Now you can see these guys have highlighted the days here in I don't know what color this is, brown or yellow, I don't know. So they've highlighted the days here. This means that there's a holiday. Chinese New Year. And this year, I think we are very lucky because the holiday will not take the whole of February. This time, the holiday started out in 28th and it's going to end on 11th. Sometimes I'm telling you, they have a holiday that starts at 30th and then end in March 5th. Like crazy, I'm telling you, okay? So this time around, they only have a 3-week holiday. Actually, it's 2 week and it's ending at 11th. So forget about all this. So let's start here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, let's just say by here it's around 2 weeks, okay? So I'll place 27. Yeah, that's basically, of course, like 2 weeks or something. So once we have that, uh, the next thing now we're going to do is, of course, fill up this section here where the goods are going. So where are we delivering the goods to? Let's go here. Now, destination, location, type. Remember, we are dealing with freight forwarders, okay? So I want you to be always be working with the freight forwarders. I'm going to provide an example of the freight forwarding guys that I work with. Uh, I'm just going to enter their address here, but always we are going to be working with the freight forwarders. So the goods will always be going to the factory warehouse. You cannot, we don't need to take the goods to a home, residential, or anything, or port, because this here they'll just be dumped to the to the the ocean port, the seaport or the airport. So we don't want that. So we're going to be working with we're going to be working with the factory warehouse where the goods are going to be the be dropped at, be delivered. So for example, if we're dealing with the warehouse in China, some of the freight forwarders, they have a warehouse, okay? So we can either select the factory or warehouse, and then also we can select something called port, because they'll be able to deliver to the problem is they're going to be they'll deliver to the airport or seaport, but now the problem is there is no what about delivering to the freight warehouses? Okay, so I always like to select here factory warehouse. So once you have that, this is the destination country where the warehouse is, and in this case I will use the freight forwarders here. The address is normally 631, normally 631 what 63134. Yeah, it will just have a drop down, I'm sure, because they have the addresses there. Here you go, see that? So that's what happens, guys. So remember, the reason I want us to use a freight forwarding guys, I mean, these guys are literally crazy. They will give you the, they will give you everything. They provide importing, exporting via air or ocean worldwide. Okay, so they will give you the custom brokerage, warehousing, labeling, and all those kind of services. And you will just need to provide the origin of pickup, which we have already, which is just China. So once you have that, for example, the guys I like to use are called the RAM International, okay, and then normally based in Chicago. So you can even Google RAM Chicago or just RAM International, and they provide a lot of things. They provide like every single thing you will need to you will need to have with regards to your product inspection and all that. So I have provided where the goods are going, and of course once we get to the shipping module of this lesson, I will give you my list of all these guys. Like you see, Buckley, MO, 63134. This is their address. So I'm going to give you all of these guys, all of the information, everything that you will need to be using in your business. So once you have that, the next step now is basically to just fill up some few information here. Okay, so here you'll be asked, what about customs brokerage services? So here you'll just always have to select yes, because your goods need customs brokerage. Okay, this means that the shipment needs to be cleared through customs. So if you select this, then freighters will ensure that your freight forwarders clears your shipment through customs. Okay, that is very, very important, and this way we are trying to minimize all kinds of risks, all kinds of problems if your goods are damaged and all that. Okay, now here, purchase a custom bond. Of course, it is required for USA imports and all that. So this is something that you can't escape. You have to select yes, and then they'll bring you a window whereby you'll have to either decide if you have the money to buy it annually, or just one single input. Okay, so you can have it set up annually, which will be covering your 12-month shipment. So whichever shipments you'll be doing every year. Like personally, I have an annual value, so you will always just have already paid for that, for all of your shipments for that year. But if you for ours, we, since we are starting, I mean, we literally have to select a single custom bond payment. Okay, so here what you're going to do, once this window pops up, you will just enter your shipment value. So how do we get the shipment value for your first shipment? uh, just one second, guys. Mm, yeah, here we are. So for your first shipment, you will enter your your shipment value. You go to your RAINS workbook, and of course you have communicated with the suppliers and done all the negotiations, and now you've arrived at a value of 3. Okay, so let's say you want to buy 500 units. That's $3 times 500. What does that come to? It comes to 1,500, right? So you put that 1,500 here. Once you do that, so remember, this is the value of goods, the raw money you're paying the suppliers, this 1,500. This is the value of goods, okay? Like the price of the product from the supplier. The total price will be paying the suppliers, of course, like I told you, inclusive of this packaging and all that. Like, this is what you've negotiated with suppliers, and then you've come up with this figure, and this is what you're going to pay the supplier. So you do times all the units that you're buying, and then so what you do, you take that value times the number of units you're buying, and then you come to 1,500. So you put that 1,500 here, then you select. Okay, so the freighters will include a single custom bond just for this shipment. Okay, so later on, once you're making, this is the single custom bond, $50 only. So once you're making good money, and then you have so much money now, you can just have you can have the annual plan, and then anytime you're doing a shipment, you can just you don't need to be adding any custom bonds at all. Okay, so once that has been done, so you scroll down, you don't need to add anything fancy here. You just click search and book. So you see it's told you total units 10 and cubic meters and all that, so you just search and book. So wait for the results. So Freightos will search through millions of different companies around the world, I mean around China, and then getting the estimates for you, because we selected China. That's where the manufacturers are. So there you go. It's still loading. Still loading. Just give it time. Okay. It has, I think it has loaded. Okay, great. So now, what do we have here? So get this, guys. If you see some crazy expenses, you're like 1,000, 135, there's some crazy expensive values here. Remember, Freightos has given you all the values with regards to air, ocean, and express. So express is basically a faster version of air. It's just like really, really fast. It could even take 5 days. Oh yes, you see, 4 to 5 days, and your goods are already in Amazon. Okay, so this is quite expensive. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just if you have this money, then by all means you can pay for your shipment. Okay, you can just add to your value and then pay. So by all means you can pay. So right now I'm going to use the filters to deselect that, and then of course air. See, this is air. 7 to 11 days, your goods are already on Amazon. Then of course also remove air. Then now we have ocean. So it tells you 33 to 36 days your goods will get to Amazon. But what I want you guys to do, look at the filters here. We have best value, 77 results, best value, cheapest, select cheapest and see. We have 985. This is the cheapest. Quickest. There you go. And then we have the greenest. So basically what I normally like to do, I just like to select the best value. This is a combination of the cheapest and I mean cheap and also fast. Okay, so it's 1066, but for the purposes of demonstration, let me use this, which is 985. Okay, so That's how to use Freightos, guys. It's really powerful, and it's something really awesome, and I love to use. Okay, so let's go back to the slides and then show you how to uh, break down these numbers. Okay, so now here we are. Remember I told you the custom duty is free, and we already did that, and you saw the 5%. So now let's go back to Freightos tool. I've shown you how to use it. So let's use an example of my baby sling carrier. We are now estimating the shipping cost and then breaking down every single value, every single so we this is business. We need to really get the values and all that. Now, remember, we want to ship 500 units. Okay, and each we have done the communication with suppliers, and then we found a value of $3 per unit, which comes to a total invoice of $1,500. That's correct, right? Good. Now the dimensions, remember, we've been given this by the suppliers, excuse me, and they told us, since we were given all the dimensions, and then we put all those dimensions into the Freightos tool. And if you can remember, where how we used the Freightos tool to put all the dimensions, and then Freightos told us that, to ship goods worth those dimensions with that weight, which is 20 kilograms, actually, sorry, not 25, 20 kilograms. It's gonna cost us 985. Okay, so now, if it's 985, so we need to add the 5% estimated duty tax. Okay, so 5% times 1500, you literally get $75, right? So the total shipping, which is, now we want to get the total shipping. Okay, so total shipping, which is the ocean shipping, which is 985. This is what Freightos has told us, plus the duty fee, which was $75. We get 1060. Now this is the real value of shipping everything. Okay, and everything has been included, everything is inclusive, and now we have a value of 1060. Now, so we want to get the shipping fee per unit. Okay, you know that math, right, guys? So per unit, we get the 1060 divided by 500 units. So after using all the tools, communicating with the suppliers, gotten all the values that we need to get, okay, the cost of goods and all that, and then using the Freightos tool. Now, after doing all that, now we know that the shipping cost per unit is 2.12. Now, I hope you have seen how we've broken down to these, we've broken down uh, these values, okay, and how we've come about with 2.12. Now, this is the value, 2.12 is the value that we're going to enter on the product opportunity spreadsheet, okay? So this 2.12 is what we will take, and then we will enter it here. Now you've seen how we came about with 2.12. That's it. So we just write it down. We write it up there. So that is what we will be using as our shipping fee per unit. And I've shown you how to come up with that figure. Now, so we have found out the cost of product, which we've literally found out the price of the good per unit. We've worked out the importing cost and everything. We've included everything. Now we also even have the inspection service, and I've told you how you can estimate that. So we literally just highlight this, and it will give us the sum, which is 5.32. That is the total cost of product. Okay, the total cost of good. Now, of course, we have the shipping to Amazon and all this. Okay, so once we have that, at least now we are able to make steps. Okay, we're able to make monumental steps. So get that, guys. Let me go to the next slide. The next slide is talking about the value of 2.12. That's what you enter on the product opportunity spreadsheet, and I've shown you how to do that. So now we have the true cost of our product, which is 5.32. That is the true cost. Remember, we still are looking for the total true cost. Okay, the true cost is now when you highlight the price of the good plus importing cost plus inspection service. Now you get 5.32. That is the true cost of the product. Now the true cost of everything, okay, Now you'll have to add the cost of product together with the shipping fees to Amazon. Now you literally just highlight all this. It gives you a sum of 6.02. So there you go. And I'm just going to show you how to use this when we now get the final numbers. Okay, good. So far so good. I think we are doing great. So let's go back to the slides and then see where we are. So now we have the true cost of product, which is 5.32. Okay, so take action, guys. Update the true product cost. So for each of your top 3 product opportunities, update the following. Remember, you need to do the same cycle even with the other suppliers that you talk to, and then fill up that Rains workbook with all the values, like the example I've shown you. Update the product prices using the quotes you receive from each of your top 3 suppliers. Using the dimensions provided by your suppliers, use the Freightos tool in order to come up with the shipping estimates and enter all those values as well. And then add in the 0.2 estimated inspection fee. So I've just taken a screenshot and put here the the section of the cells of the true cost of product now. So for example, it can be 4, 2.4, and 0.2. So that is what you're going to put on the Rains workbook, because now we're getting into the real values. So what's next? Once you have the true product costs, you will then be able to determine your actual profit margin. This will help us choose our final product opportunity, remember, okay? And then place our order for samples. And by then, we'll be able to now know, like, this supplier's profit margin is 40%. This one, amekataa ku negotiate. Maybe he's just sticking at, $4. This one is going for 2.5. This one is going at 3, So once you're able to do all that, you'll be able to choose your supplier with numbers, okay? So to do for this lesson, guys, sign up with the free Freightos account, and then do this exercise in this video. Watch this video, do this exercise, determine the final 3 suppliers for each of your product, then get an estimate of shipping and freight cost. Excuse me. Then practice the action steps in this video. So that is it for this lesson, guys. Take care and be blessed.